Hey everybody, tafony here once again, and today I'm super excited to be rambling about the Forge TME Vhikk X, the Forget Me Vhikk X. I don't know how to say either, so we're going to try and not say any part of it. I'm so excited for this one. It's sort of drone based, but also wavetable synthesis. It's everything. Let's get the quick housekeeping out of the way first so we can jump right into it. I'm not affiliated with Forge TME or Forget Me for that matter. Our good Euro pal Mariusz was very kind once again to lend this to me, and it's not sponsored or anything like that. It's not a journalistic endeavor. It's just my video blog. I want to be like a eurorack podcast, I guess, and each episode I'm talking about something new. And today it's going to be about the Vhikk X, but sometimes it's about hardware, sometimes it's about non-eurorack stuff, sometimes it's about life, sometimes it's about everything. So this isn't journalism, this isn't a demo. I'm not here to sell it to you or present it to you or assess it for you. I just want to talk about my thoughts, my opinions, my own ramblings in eurorack and discover what the Vhikk X has for us. Now, I've shot this video 3 times now, and trying to understand this beast is very difficult, and I see now why most people just say twiddle the knobs until it sounds good, because it feels like the more you try and untangle it, the further you get from the immediate beauty of it. But we are going to try and figure out just what the hell fuse, field, morph all means. So more importantly than all of that, it sounds like this. Okay, the Vhikk X. So multi-algorithm synthesizer, and generally I hate when companies use esoteric manuals and labels, but in the case of the Vhikk X, I think it's all really appropriate because each thing does something different on each different algorithm. So yes, morph, I don't know, warp, these names, I don't love them, but because they're different by algorithm, it's great. Or it's justified. How's that? It's not like your, I don't know, your Make Noise Maths manual that's like unnecessarily complicated for the sake of sounding esoteric or what have you. So anyway, that's beside the point. I just want to first let you hear this freaking thing because it sounds so good. So I like to go over the panel in these top to bottom, and I'm going to do that real quick here. And I'm just going to say that like it's different in every algorithm, so there isn't a ton to say just broad range, but I'm going to say that warp is usually the most like core. These two, even though they're not the largest, they're sort of like the most important parameters in the algorithm, and it's different in every algorithm, but those are kind of like there's a lot of complex oscillator DNA in this one, and the warp and span tend to be like your carrier and your modulator. Depending on the algorithm, of course, it's different in every one. But then morph is like, because it's wavetable based, there's lots of wave scanning. It's not always that by algorithm, but it is there. The build quality overall, I saw it online and I thought it was kind of ugly, to be totally honest. Like, it looked kind of like cheap. It reminded me of a certain store that used to sell knives in my hometown growing up, just like the kind of crap that they had in there. But seeing it in person, seeing this like very cybery etching, it's not etched, it's not I don't know how you describe this, embossed, anyway, it's nice in person. And these not mini pots, these I've never seen little trim pots like this, but they're very nice. Everything on here, the build quality is on point. It's sweet. And I think there's VCA on board, which we're gonna definitely make use of. I was worried about it being after the reverb, but it is dependent on the algorithm. So sometimes it's in front of it, other times it's after the effects section, which is totally cool. This stuff on the right side, you have your mix for the effects section. This form control, this cell is all related to it, to the effects section. This feed is usually feedback, but again, it's all algorithm dependent. And saying that, this fuse control will also usually have some effect, yeah, as you're hearing right now, on the y'all hearing this? It will usually have some effect on the effects section, even though it's in that section. So again, I see why a lot of reviewers of this thing just basically opted to like just twiddle it until it sounds good, because it always sounds good. And if you're droning, it doesn't really matter, right? Just tweak until you hit a nice spot. Now that being said, there is 9 algorithms currently before I become an ambient noise artist. There's worse things, that's for sure. So there's different modes, or there's different parameters that are controlled by these 2 knobs, and there's the basis. You can tell which one you're editing based on the white illumination, so the basis and the time. I don't think the time affects anything outside of the effects section, so that is, if you hit this mode, there's the seed and the scan parameters. And remember, these are going to be different by different algorithms, so we'll get into that in a bit. This field tends to be sort of like a filter, but as always, say it with me, it depends on the algorithm. Now these, something that people have kind of complained about, these inputs, and I'm not really sure I totally understand it yet. These 5 in the middle are normal to each other, and I'm not really sure how that works, given that if you want to do volt per octave into the basis, which is your pitch, it's all normal apparently, so I don't understand how that goes, but maybe we can figure that out shortly. Basis is your pitch. So if you want to send it pitch, then into the basis it goes. Now these attenuverters, though, are normal, so if they aren't doing anything, if you aren't sending it anything into the inputs, these can allow you to fine-tune the things that are down the chain from them, right? So that's at least how the manual describes it. I'll talk about doing volt per octave tracking, but I think first we're not going to do any of that, and we're just going to go through all of the algorithms quick. So like I said, I shot this video a couple times now, and these have been a challenge to cover. They sound so good. So I want to just talk about that, and we're going to let it drone, because I tried to bring in some VCAs and stuff, and I felt it wasn't fair to certain algorithms to use it on some and not others. So there's 9 algorithms currently. Some of them are basically the same with different effects sections, but that's not always the case. That is only the case for like 2 of them. So basically there's 9 by way of, there's 1 with 3, 2 with 3. 3 times 3 equals 9. I know, I'm a math genius, but we're going to start with this first one, and there's a great documentation in their website. They don't have a manual as far as I know, at least not like a PDF doc, so we're just going to go through them all quick and see what this all sounds like. So first we have the top. When you have both switches at the top, you have 2 oscillators, analog style, so I guess virtual analog, with dungeon, metallic, delay, and reverb in the effect side. So warp, most of these, I should also say, one way is 1 parameter clockwise. This might strike some make noise memories for you, or familiarity, I should say. So clockwise, it's ring mod, and counterclockwise, it's exponential cross mod. So again, yes, here's some very complex oscillator DNA, right? Alright, so that's that one. We'll bring it up to noon. Span modulator relative to tuning. Sorry, modulator, again, complex oscillator turns. Modulator relative tuning offset, so I don't know if it's creating a harmonic or we're just hearing both. Yeah. So morph is wave scan, carrier waveform scan. So it starts in pulse, goes to sine, starts in pulse, goes to saw, and then all the way into sinus. So good. So good. Fuse. So counterclockwise is chorus. We love chorus. And then clockwise is filter, resonance, and shape. So I'm not going to do a ton out of the gate, but you'll hear when I do the field control, which is filter in this algorithm, it's getting a lot more liquid, right? And again, because we're modular people, it's always like, oh, why can't I have both? Well, you know what? How you can is under heavy modulation, probably. Anyway, that's that section of it. So in the center, we have seed and scan, which I have selected. So the seed for this mode is multi-notch filter, frequency, randomization, and delay tap spacing. And then scan is modulator, waveform scan, so the opposite of this morph, we have the scan. And it's not going to sound super crazy because it's affecting the modulation and not a waveform that's actually being heard. So bring in that dungeon metallic, delay, reverb, feedback. And I think these things have a pretty hard, I'm going to say hard soft clipping. It's a very good soft clipping circuitry that you can really drive it without it getting too crazy. So I'm feeding back it to death and it's not pummeling our mix, right? So I'll bring that down a bit. Let's bring the form. And I believe form is some sort of pitch shifting. Yeah. And then cell's the pitch shifting. Again, I can see how you could completely not know what any of this does and just drone it, right? It sounds so good. Right? Again, fine tune. Yeah. Okay, that's the first algorithm. We better make quick work of this or we're going to be here all day. This is how the filter in the field sounds like. Let's get into the second one. This is dynamic wave shaping oscillator pair with reflector diffuse delay structure. So, first, warp, counterclockwise, modulation index, and modulator feedback. Yes. And then clockwise, modulation index, and carrier feedback. Yes. So good. And then you have the span, so clockwise, carrier frequency, and stereo spread. Counterclockwise is carrier frequency. So let's do a little bit of FM and then bring it up on that side. Yeah. Morph carrier waveform, so fuses delay line audio rate modulation, so counterclockwise it's delay line audio rate modulation. Yeah, so we get some pitch shifting. Clockwise saturation gain. But I do think, oh no, it does, okay. So it is driving the delay circuit, but it does happen before it too. Interesting. Okay, and then see how this goes so crazy, right? Seed, we have multi-notch filter, frequency randomization, delay tap spacing. Scan, we have base wave shape set randomization. I don't know what that means, but damn, it sounds good. Okay, next mode. We have multi-sign cluster oscillator bank with dungeon metallic delay reverb. Oh, that reverb sounds great. Let's get out of that though for now so we can set it up. We have our warp is need to get into that. Warp is oscillator phase feedback, not phrase. Phase, counterclockwise. Clockwise, inter-oscillator exponential frequency cross mod. Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? Span, counterclockwise, frequency spread. Clockwise, frequency spread and stereo spread. I hope you can hear that. Now we're talking. All right, morph. Cluster scan. Yes. It's FM index, I think. Correct me on that one. It's hard to know what's going on. I wish there was like spots I could plug the oscilloscope in to check all this out, but probably wouldn't be possible on the front of the panel. Okay, fuse is counterclockwise for chorus and clockwise for oscillator noise modulation. Wow, that gets crazy quick. So nice. Let's bring the chorus in though. And then seed, cluster pitch, offset, randomization, delay, tap spacing. Feedback a little bit. And scan, inter-oscillator, ring mod mix. Okay. High pass, low pass. Field. This one a little tamer. I shouldn't say that. You can get so crazy with this so quick. Right? Like, it's just mayhem. Madness. Okay. Next algorithm. This is very loud. Okay. We have the 4 oscillator wavetable scanning with dungeon metallic delay reverb. First, warp, counterclockwise, continuous oscillator bit depth reduction. So that was counterclockwise. This is clockwise, inter-oscillator exponential frequency cross modulation. Span, counterclockwise frequency waveform spread. And clockwise frequency stereo spread. Morph is wavetable scan. Yes. Fuse counterclockwise filter bandpass morph with parallel sine oscillator. Hello? And clockwise is chorus mix with filter, resonance, and shape. Fill your boots with everything here. Like, it's... it goes. And the smallest movements are huge differences in the tones, even in the same algorithms, right? So then we'll bring in, first seed, pitch and wave offset randomization, delay tap spacing, scan, bass wavetable set randomization. So if you modulate that, you will be having a crazy wavetable party. We got our effects section now. I don't even have the feedback cranked and it's just going bonkers. Mayhem. Absolute mayhem. Alright, next algorithm. 4 oscillator wavetable scanning with dungeon metallic delay and reverb. So, warp, counterclockwise inter-oscillator phase modulation. Clockwise inter-oscillator exponential frequency cross mod. Span, frequency waveform spread. Counterclockwise, that is. Clockwise frequency stereo spread. And then morph, wavetable scan. I live for these sounds. Those ones. Wave scanning is just, yes. That's a nice sweet spot, I'd say. We'll leave it there. Fuse counterclockwise chorus. This. Clockwise chorus mix and filter resonance. That is outstanding. Seed, pitch and wave offset randomization, delay line sync, and delay, scan, bass wavetable set randomization. So good. Next one. 4 oscillator wavetable scanning with reflecta diffuse delay structure. Take that delay off. Warp, counterclockwise, inter-oscillator phase modulation. Clockwise, inter-oscillator exponential frequency cross mod. Span, counterclockwise frequency waveform spread. Clockwise frequency stereo spread. Morph, wavetable scan. I feel like this morph is just begging to be modulated. but I'm doing it manually for now. Alright, then we got fuse, counterclockwise oscillator to all pass, delay line, audio rate modulation. Hello? Clockwise individual oscillator waveform amount. Wavefold amount. Seed, pitch and wavetable offset randomization, delay, tap spacing. Here's the delay. Scan, wavetable, set randomization, feed it back, form it up. I won't look constipated on every single algorithm, just most of them. Okay. This one. We have 4 oscillator diatonic quantized cluster scanning with reflecta, diffuse delay structure, warp, counterclockwise, inter-oscillator phase modulation. And then clockwise, inter-oscillator exponential frequency cross-mod. Ooh, now we're talking. Span, bipolar quantized frequency, cluster, spread. Clockwise introduces stereo spread. Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? Morph, cluster scan. Fuse, counterclockwise stereo chorus, clockwise saturation mix and gain. Seed, cluster pitch, wave offset randomization. Scan, bass wavetable set randomization, bring in the effects. I just can't get enough. 2 algorithms left. We got 4 oscillator cluster scanning with dungeon metallic delay and reverb. This is warp, counterclockwise inter-oscillator phase modulation, clockwise inter-oscillator exponential frequency cross mod, span, bipolar cluster frequency spread, clockwise introduces stereo spread, mayhem, absolute madness, morph is cluster scan once again, fuse counterclockwise stereo chorus mix, clockwise saturation mix and gain, and then seed cluster pitch and wave offset, delay tap spacing as well, scan is a base wavetable at randomization, and then the following one is the same but with a different metallic section. This is the reflected diffuse delay structure instead of the dungeon metallic delay reverb. And I wanted to leave that for last too because I wanted you to hear that. Okay, let's make use of the VCA. I mean, I could let this go all day. Listen to that. Okay, so we're going to patch into the basis. This video's way too long already, but we're going to crank up this all the way so it'll track. And now, make sure I am sending a gate. Alright, that's into the VCA, so you'll hear this algorithm, VCA first. So good. I think this is the way to do it. Now, you can also, I'll bypass the VCA and just send this whole thing into the steady state gate. This is fine, but I think the internal VCA really is important when it comes to this one, in my opinion. That's right. Need to, because I'm gating those effects, right? And that's kind of cool. Would add noise. What if the reverb was the noise? But, you know, that is what it is. I hope to do some more Vhikk videos. This is already half an hour long, so holy crap. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tafony. This thing, I love wavetables. I love doombient reverbs. I love complex oscillators, and it just sort of takes all of those things and smashes them together like a exponential cross mod. Now, the last thing, actually, I said this was just about done, but I do want to do one last thing. You can route the input from other sources. This is Liquelic, and you can apply these algorithms to an external audio source. Something as nasty as Liquelic for some fun drones, or you can route it into itself for some more madness. Let's send it pitch. This is just feedback, but other ones, yes. All right, I'm Tafony. Stay doombient, my friends. Take care, and I will talk to you soon.